Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about people who are really loud and people who are really quiet. Now, aren't some people naturally loud? Yeah. Aren't some people naturally quiet? Yeah, but it does originate from different chakras, and sometimes it can be a problem and problematic. If you're more of a loud person, just in general because of your upbringing, etc., then, it's okay as long as it's to a point where it's just not obnoxious, not to the point where it's creating a blockage. But there is a nature behind this, and today I'm going to really talk about that. So I don't know if you noticed, a few days ago in my video, there was a really loud set of people near me, and they were being loud on purpose, which I don't get frustrated or upset at those certain things. I just use those as I can really teach about this because I've never really thought about this because I'm not really around stuff like that too often. I don't let myself be around loud people, and I don't, okay, for people who are very low-spoken, I'll pull them straight out of the shell, and I won't really recognize that they're low-spoken because I can pull anyone out of a shell and help someone really speak. But that doesn't mean that that person is like that when they're around me, so this is actually a very helpful video. So in the other video, I was talking about past lives, and there's a lot of angelic interactions on the beach. Let's just say that a lot of angels showed up when the video was trying to get interrupted, and the wind was just almost to the point where you couldn't hear me, and this actually is a very helpful video, so I'm going to get straight into it right now. Why is someone so loud, and why is that an issue? So when you're so loud to the point where you're in public and you're with friends and that you're like, and you're like, just everyone's looking at you and it's a problem. You could be loud. You can grow up in a loud household. You could have just a household where some people are like, especially I know friends from Brooklyn, or the Bronx. Just in general, people from I have friends from New York, and they're very loud just because that's how they grew up. That's their household, etc. That might be a reason. I haven't really investigated too deep into that, like if there's any blockages behind their chakras or anything like that, but they just live in a house where you have to speak up loud because that's just how the upbringing is. Like maybe the family couldn't hear, there's so many people in the house, etc. That can create blockages on its own, but in a very different way. But we're talking about people who are just in their friend group. They're like, and you're in public, and maybe you're at the movie theater, and you're like, geez, why won't these people be quiet? It's because they have throat chakra blockages, but it's not just a regular throat chakra blockage. It's a very complex blockage that 2 crystals actually helps us in particular. So we have the heart chakra and we have the throat chakra. Now we have a medium chakra between here, or just a heart throat chakra, and it's kind of like, I like to think of the earth mixing with the water. So you have blues and then you have the greens. So when those blues and greens kind of blend, you'll get like a very shaggy color. And if you ever look up the crystal called chrysocolla, it looks just like that. So that the energies of those chakras are just like that. And that's actually one crystal that helps blockages of the heart and throat chakra. So when someone is so obnoxiously loud to the point where they can't really, they're just, a lot of times the person is in a lot of emotional pain. The person is very, they're muting most of their emotions. That kind of person is just flat out not happy, and they don't recognize that they're not happy, and they're not really dealing with their unhappiness. They're just projecting it outwards, and everyone can see it, but they don't see it themselves. And most of the time, these people don't really have friends who will correct them, like, hey, you gotta simmer down because we're in a restaurant and you're screaming and everyone's looking. And sometimes you'll get negative attention, like people saying, shut up, and then you'll be like, that friend will always be yelling louder and louder, and that'll just become a problem. For most of the people on my YouTube channel, you probably have not encountered that. I don't encounter it very often, but this is a very real issue that some people have to deal with. And some people might just have loud people around them every single day, and you're like, geez, why are these people so loud? This comes from not speaking your truth. This comes not from just a place deep down in your soul where you feel like you're not being heard. Maybe you're someone who's really loud and you're watching this video. This video is going to help you. I'm not putting anyone down. I don't put people down. I help people up. That's what I do. I'm not going to make fun of you. I might call you out on certain things, but it's there to help you. If you have friends around you who are not calling you out, like, hey, you really got to be quiet because it's not becoming of you, and I can tell there's a blockage there. If you don't have friends like that, then you should find some new friends. I'm going to tell you that right now. So people are like, oh, you told me to find new friends. I'm like, yeah, those friends don't care about you. If a real friend will tell you, hey, you're doing something wrong, you're not becoming better, I'm not gonna let this happen. Friends who don't really care, friends who just are there to be there, will just let things happen and be like, ha 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 ha. But I mean, for the people who know what I'm talking about, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Same thing with that. So for someone who is just always so loud, like yelling and screaming, if I'm okay. For example, if you have someone who is just always talking so loud that, like I said, they can't communicate their truth. That person's most likely not following a single passion in their life. That person feels so off track in their life to the point where they feel like screaming for help. That person doesn't feel like they're being heard by anyone around them, including family, friends, or even themselves. So the thing with heart chakra and throat chakra blockages is that the thing with heart chakra, throat chakra blockages is that I'm sorry, guys. When someone is so loud to the point where they can't I'll tell you guys what that is in a future video. Probably not, but when someone's so loud to the point where they can't have people around them, the people around them normally don't care about them anyways. And they're really repelling people. They're attracting the wrong people to them. It's just not becoming of them. It's not light. It's not helping the person do right. And it's really actually creating a bigger heart chakra blockage. And it's not becoming of them. I mean, let's just say you're the person watching my video and you're super loud. Now, instead of talking to it in that point of view, I'll talk about it in this point of view. So if you're someone who's excessively loud and you don't really realize it, no matter what the reason, you could have grown up in a whatever household, you could feel like that's just how you project yourself. When you're a lot more loud than you need to be, you put stress on the throat chakra. You take away from its abilities of harmonious communication and being received. So, this is about to get very interesting. So remember how the body has two halves, the yin and the yang. So the projective and the receptive. Now, when you are projecting such a loud voice, it does put other people to the point where they're not receiving you as well because you're being overly projective, and it's creating an imbalance in the communication with them and an imbalance with the communication with you. So you're not going to be really receiving the energies of communication as much. So if you're someone who's really, really, really loud, you're going to find that you have a bunch of problems being heard. So you're talking loud, but people aren't really hearing you. No one really cares what you have to say. Your relationships are suffering. Your partnerships, relationships, what you're doing is suffering because you're just not being heard, and people who are super, super loud don't ever recognize it until a spiritualist like me comes along and says, hey, you're really loud, your throat chakra's blocked, your heart chakra's blocked, you don't feel like you're in a place that you can speak your truth, you're far off track from your passions. A lot of people who are super loud are actually basically separated from their spirituality. They don't feel connected to their spirituality to the point that they just feel like they have to project. And it depends what kind of loud person you are. There's people who are obnoxiously loud. There's people who are just loud speakers. Now, even I sometimes, if I'm used to speaking in front of a bunch of people, and like I used to do public speaking in college. I used to be in public speaking competitions in college. So I'd have to be very loud. Yeah, but when you get into a room where the energy of a room will really tell you, so if you've ever had AirPods in your ears and you're just being really loud with the AirPods on and you take them off and you're talking loud, people around you like, hey, you gotta chill down. They'll tell you that, or you gotta figure it out. Same thing with, it depends who your audience is. It depends if you're inside, if you're outside. But if you really want to be heard, and some people are like, this video's, why is he talking about communication? Because it has to deal with your business relationships, your partnerships, your love life, your marriage. If you're not communicating efficiently, you're just not there. You're not there, they're not there, and you're having a whole bunch of imbalances because the throat chakra is actually one of the most neglected chakras because no one really cares about it. Like, oh, what about communication? Yeah, you're really communicating your truth. You're speaking. And this goes, sometimes it can relate to a heart, solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra blockage. So the person feels like they're just not able to communicate anything of their dreams, of any of their desires. There's that person who's extremely loud is just going with the direction of life is going. And you'll always notice those people always have friends who just kind of enable them because their friends are feeding off the energy of them. And just anything, like, it's really sad. This video is not to put anyone down, but you have to be aware if if you're just not being heard by people and you have to talk louder to get heard, that doesn't work like that. Everything is sending and receiving energy, and you're creating a giant imbalance just by being super loud. So when you see people who are actually super, super, super loud, I highly suggest you say to them like, hey, I feel like you should really work on your throat. I mean, it sounds exotic, it sounds wild, it sounds otherworldly. It'd be like, someone has to tell people when, like, if you really care about someone, if you have a really loud friend and you really want to help them, be like, hey, I think you should work on your throat chakra. I think you should really research this chakra. I think it would really help you. I think it would relate to a lot about what you're going through in life. I think and people who are really loud, they suffer from bad relationships and just they don't really know why. So just explaining it to them, because even people in my family, I've basically told like, hey, you're being a lot more loud than you have to be, and you're not being perceived by people. It's not in a generally good context. Even, it sounds completely crazy, but some of your spirit guides and angels are like, hey, calm down, chill down. And other people's spirit guides and angels will be like, this person's loud. Let's pull this person to if you're attracting a business interaction or whatever, and that person's angels and spirits knows that person's super loud, they're a lot less likely to make it happen. So work on your throat chakra, and everything else around you will go nice and fluidly. Now, for the people who are, and this one's a lot easier than the people who are super loud, because this is a very intricate video and there's a lot of energy behind it, and it's just not one simple reason, because like I said, from different backgrounds and the different energy of different rooms and who you're talking to and relationships, it could be a business relationship, a partner relationship, it could be any kind of relationship. But for the people who, and I've had a lot of people message me after I talk about this, for the people who are super loud, you gotta pray for those people, because they're essentially, to summarize this information about people who are super loud, they're not communicating their truth efficiently, and they feel like they're not being heard. They're basically, you can be a bonfire, but if you're in the desert where no one can see your fire, then you don't exist, so you have to make your fire bigger. I hope that really resonates and makes sense with some of you. It's a complex topic. No one's really talking about it. I haven't talked about it before because I don't really encounter it, because if someone's super loud around me, I'm going to say, like, you're loud. Like, you have to chill out. It's not helping you. It's not helping those around you. Fix it. Now, if you're someone who's super loud and watching my video, and like, I've never had anyone tell me I'm loud before, well, look at the people around you. Evaluate, is that someone who's going to tell you when something's really off? If they're not, I would get rid of them. Yeah, I don't tolerate people who, if someone sees, like, let's just say you have these 5 friends and you're falling down, like, you're doing all these bad things, and they're like, you ask them, how am I doing? They're like, you're doing awesome. Yeah, because they're getting above you, and they don't want to see you pass them, so they're not going to tell you, or they just don't really care. So you, either way, get rid of that friend. Now, the next part of this video, for the people who speak really low, like the really shy, introverted people, I'll tell you right now, this comes from the sacral chakra. Ironically, this is just another extremely neglected chakra as well. It's really unfortunate. People are like, I don't want to learn about the sacral chakra. Teach me about the third eye chakra. I want to learn about the crown chakra. I want my abilities opened. But the people who feel lethargic, the people who feel tired and just down and not feeling like communicating, like they feel like they can't really speak it's a different way of not being able to speak your truth. It comes from a point where you're so muted and you're like, I don't feel like I want to. Maybe you're just an extreme introvert, but still, like, you're like, I can't really talk to people if I tried. There is a difference between talking to people who are good and talking to people who are not good, and just not wanting to talk to people who are not good. Yeah, of course, that's necessary. But the thing is, if you're just not communicating because you feel like you can't, that comes from the sacral chakra to start with, and comes from the solar plexus chakra. So basically, your solar plexus chakra is where your feelings are held. Your sacral chakra is where your energy and your zest and love for life and just passions come from. So combining those two together, if you feel like you can't really communicate, and that, keep in mind, the chakras go up. You have to take care of the lower chakras as much as you take care of the higher chakras. If anything, you should work on the lower chakras first. So being someone who just is so low spoken to the point where you're not being heard, you can't really talk to people, you have problems interacting with people, it's the sacral chakra blockage, or sacral chakra needs to be worked on, solar plexus chakra needs to be worked on, and throat chakra needs to be worked on. What about the heart chakra? Yeah, that's important too, but most of you are already working on the heart chakra. It's not overly hard to work on the heart chakra, but the thing is, it's so mainstream to work on the heart chakra and the third eye and crown. yeah, it's very mainstream. No one's really talking about how to work on the other chakras that really are just. And trust me, if you do not work on the sacral chakra, you will just not want to be around friends. You won't want to be around family. You won't want to go days without talking. So work on your sacral chakras and sacral and solar plexus, because if you use carnelian on your sacral or solar plexus chakra, you will unblock both of them. That's just an easy way. That's one crystal you can use. You can also use citrine. I highly recommend carnelian. It's not overly popular, but people are like, oh, it's orange. I like purple. Work with orange. Yeah, just work with orange. Work with the crystal that you need to work with versus the one you like. You can work with the one you really like afterwards. Work with the one you need. If you feel like an extreme introvert, carnelian's going to be your best friend. It's just very easy. You can also use sunstone. Carnelian takes the cake when it comes to this. Hematite works as well. If you feel like you have to run away from conversation to begin with, and the conversation and the communication doesn't even begin, that's a root chakra problem, a root chakra blockage. Because it's basically you want to run away from a conversation. You need to work with more black crystals and more brown crystals. Like Druvite, which is brown tourmaline. I call it Druvite. It's like Dravite or something like that. I didn't really like the name, so I changed it. Brown tourmaline. Just brown and black crystals are good for the root. So you'll have to work with carnelian if you feel low-spoken. And once you work with carnelian, then you can start working with the throat chakra crystals. Like blue crystals with orange crystals is an excellent combination. For people who are very low-spoken, I get it. People are very shy to ask me. For the people who have asked, well, thank you for asking, because I added that to this video. This video is just going to be about loud people, because it stemmed off from me really thinking about that on the beach. I'm like, these people are really, really loud, and they're trying to get in my video. I'm like, what's the problem here? Oh, the people are just basically extremely unhappy. They're around friends who don't really care about them, and they feel like they have to project their voice because their truth is not being projected. It's not, because I gave them my Instagram and my TikTok and my YouTube, so they're going to be watching this video, hopefully. Yeah, if you're someone who projects your voice, I want you to watch this. It projects your voice in a way that is going back against you, then this video is here to help you. I don't put anyone down. I'm here to uplift you and really help you dissolve blockages. If you feel like someone who can't speak their truth, if you're too shy, work with carnelian. It's so simple. It's just, that's the easiest crystal ever to work with. Put it on your sacral chakra. Put it by your belly button. You can also wear it as a necklace or a bracelet. It's really going to help, especially as a necklace, because the Kundalini energy center goes up and down. The thing with the back of your spine, it moves energy up and down, so that's a very, very... I wish I could show you guys the back of my neck. It's not going to happen on this video, but it's a very important spot. Even if you just have a hairpin of carnelian, you're going to feel a lot better. I keep carnelian up here, somewhere deep in there, because carnelian on the head, it really helps you think as well, so that's why I recommend it as a necklace. You can also use it as a bracelet on, like... You can use it on either side. I'm not going to tell you guys which side to use the bracelet on, but it's really easy. Like, for people who are low speakers, it's essentially the same thing. You feel like you can't speak your truth just because of a blockage of the sacral and solar plexus chakras. It's very easy to treat that. For people who are extra loud, that takes a little more confrontation, and that has to do with the heart and the throat chakras. Like, for a person who's really, really loud, they're going to have to be confronted or really have to notice that the relationships are turned off around them because they're so loud, and that person never really realizes they're loud because they don't have friends to tell them that they're loud. So one problem is a lot easier to treat than the other one. So for the people who are low-spoken, carnelian and blue lace agate is an excellent combination. For people who are really loud, work with a crystal such as amazonite or chrysocolla. This is a very interesting video. I never thought I'd make a video like this until that really happened, but I believe everything does happen for a reason, and a lot of people are going to be helped. If you don't realize you're too loud and you're projecting your voice to the point where others are not receiving it because they're closing their communication off from you, then kind of ask people around you who do care, be like, do I have a way of being too loud? Like, am I being a little obnoxious when I speak? And it's okay, because if you're asking if you're doing something wrong, you don't know if you're doing something wrong unless you ask. And when you find someone who cares, for example, then they're going to tell you, like, yeah, you're doing a little too much. I think if you tone it back, and guess what? Once you stop neglecting your throat chakra, this is one of the weakest chakras that people don't even work on. And the sacral chakra is one of the weakest. It's just, treat all your chakras. Stop just treating the third eye and the crown because they're popular. Oh, third eye. Guess what? Some of your abilities will open when you treat the sacral chakra or the throat chakra. It's very easy. Balance everything and be balanced. It's all about the energy you put out and the energy you receive. If you put out too much energy, and you're too loud, others are going to close up. They're going to go in their shell. If you put out too little, then others won't even know you're there. So it's a good balance. I hope this video has helped you guys. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!